pressure on the aggressor, and that is what we must continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vladimir. Mark, can I turn to you?
Yeah, thank you, and good afternoon. And as Keir Starmer and Volodymyr Zelensky have said, we just concluded a very productive meeting of the Coalition of the Willing, and I welcome the initiative allies are showing to strengthen our support to Ukraine even further. Just 2 days ago, I was in Washington, where I had a very good meeting with President Trump. The sanctions that the US has placed against Russia's largest oil companies will starve them of revenue and significantly increase the pressure on Putin to come to the negotiating table. And they show once again that President Trump is absolutely committed to end this war and bring a lasting peace to Ukraine. I'm glad that I was able here today to join allies and partners to discuss how we support these peace efforts and how we can increase the pressure on Russia to get there. In Ukraine, Putin is gaining little ground on the battlefield. And where there are marginal gains, they are coming at a huge price. Hundreds of thousands of Russians are dying for Putin's deluded aggression. Ukraine continues defending itself bravely, and our support to them is working. The truth is that Putin is running out of money, troops and ideas. President Trump said it very well. They should stop where they are now. And now is the right time to increase the pressure on Russia, so we can finally get a fair and a just peace for Ukraine. I therefore welcome the recent announcements by European allies and Canada of additional military aid to Ukraine. The developments on the battlefield show that our support to Ukraine is working, and we need to keep it up. We need to pair this support with sanctions and economic pressure, and the EU's 19 seconds package against Russia is another good step in this direction. On both sides of the Atlantic, we want this war to end. And the good discussions this week in Washington, yesterday in the European Council and now in London indicate we are moving in the right direction. Thank you so much.
Mark, thank you so much. Mette, can I come to you?
First of all, thank you, Keir, for hosting us today, and thank you, Volodymyr, for joining us yesterday in Brussels in a meeting with the European Council, and today in the Coalition of the Willing. It was Putin that called President Trump some days ago because he was scared that Ukraine would get the upper hand. Yet he rejected Trump's proposal for a ceasefire along the current front lines, a suggestion that we support, and same goes for you in Ukraine. But Putin doesn't want to stop the killings. There is no indication that Russia and Putin wants peace, not even a ceasefire. And Russia continues its hybrid war against NATO and the West. Today, the Coalition of the Willing, we have agreed to increase the pressure on Russia, agreed that we must find long-term financing of Ukraine's ability to keep fighting, boost Ukraine's defense industry with European financing, finance much-needed US weapons, and to put more pressure on Putin's weak economy with new sanctions. I think this week we have taken significant steps with EU's new sanctions package, targeting Russian energy sector, the shadow fleet, and much more. United States have now sanctioned, as we already have heard, Russia's 2 largest oil companies. And already last week, the UK, announced sanctions targeting those companies as well. I think Putin's strategy has been to wait for us to stop, at some point to give up. But of course, this will never happen. So once again, we have today agreed to be united in our efforts, and our promise to you, dear Volodymyr, and to Ukraine and to all Europeans is that we are willing to continue, of course.
Thank you so much. And then to you, Dick, please.
Thank you, Keir, and thank you for hosting the Coalition of the Willing today. And Volodymyr, thank you for being here as yesterday in the European Council. And both meetings had the same purpose, peace. And in doing so, and making sure that that will happen, we need to keep Ukraine in the fight, as everyone more or less stated today in different words. We need to maximize support to Ukraine. And Ukraine Ukrainian needs have to be leading in that. What we see is that Russia is the only party rejecting a ceasefire, circumventing all diplomatic initiatives and continuing to attack Ukraine. The only way to persuade Putin to engage in serious talks is to increase economic pressure on Russia and our support for Ukraine. This week, important measures were taken in the EU and the US, and coordination for further steps we could take is necessary. First of all, on sanctions. It would be good if the EU were to copy the US-UK sanctions against Lukoil and Rosneft. We must also do more to dismantle the shadow fleet systems, and the Netherlands will take its part when it comes to the North Sea. This could hit Putin hard financially, as this undermines his revenues on global oil markets. Second is support. It's crucial that all countries contribute. Only then can we maintain a high level of support and keep Ukraine afloat militarily and economically. We must increase military support bilaterally as well as by ordering armed packages from the US, and a couple of the speakers already mentioned the Pearl package. And we must make sure we step up our energy assistance to help Ukraine and the Ukrainians through the winter. We are very concerned with Russia's ongoing attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure before the start of the winter, especially on its domestic gas production. Costs for recovery are high and the need for gas imports have increased. The Netherlands, therefore, will increase financial and material support on energy, and we urge all our partners to consider increasing their contributions as well. We can put more pressure on Putin to end this war if we work even more closely together and widen our impact on Russia. And at the same time, this is the way to create the best possible conditions on which Ukraine is able to negotiate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dick. Thank you, colleagues. We're now going to attempt a Q&A, a five-way Q&A.